Week 3. So for the warm-up for week 3 is I'd like my client to skip for 5 minutes at an RPE of about 5. So not a too high intensity, but enough to get their muscles moving so that they keep warm and the heart rate elevates to produce oxygenated blood around the body to prepare them for exercise. Also, skipping is convenient for my client as his main session on the Tuesday is swimming. Therefore, he wouldn't be able to use a treadmill or bike straight before his main session as they might not be available. Next, I'd like my client to do some dynamic stretches, so 5 reps of each exercise, so on each arm and leg. The reason why I've asked him to do dynamic arm stretches is because this allows the muscles in the arms and shoulders to become more pliable and warm up so that he doesn't cause himself an injury when he is performing front crawl during the swimming session that is on the Tuesday. And also for the session that is on the Thursday, as there are some exercises that incorporate his arms. In addition, he still needs to warm his leg muscles up, as there are some exercises on the Thursday session that uses his legs. And also for swimming on the Tuesday, he needs to be able to move his legs without the risk of causing a muscle tear. So firstly, one of the arm exercises I want him to do is putting both his arms straight out in front of him and crossing them over, so like scissors almost. This should cause a stretch in his shoulder muscles, and so I want him to do 5 reps of that exercise. Next, while walking, I'd like him to raise his arm above his head and then pull on his elbow. This should cause a stretch in his shoulder and arm. The next one I'd like him to do is pulling his arm across his chest and holding that stretch. For his leg muscles, I'd like him to do high knees and then hold every third high knee he does. So this is while walking. Then the same for heel flicks. So every 3 heel flicks he does, I'd like him to hold the third one. Then I'd like him to do walking lunges and squats. For the cool down, on the swimming day, I'd like him to do backstroke without using his arms for 5 minutes. This is because backstroke without using his arms is a less demanding stroke, but still allows movement in the body so that the body is still able to remove the waste product of carbon dioxide. Therefore, this aids EPOC as the client is still able to circulate a high amount of oxygenated blood around the body to obviously remove carbon dioxide. Next, in all of the other training sessions for the cool down, I like my client to do skipping, an RPE of about 4. So once again, it still circulates oxygenated blood around the body to remove carbon dioxide. Like the warm-up, I'd like my client to do stretches for their arms and legs, but this time on the cool down because we want the muscles to cool down but still be stretched so that they don't seize up. Instead of doing dynamic stretches, I'd like them to do static stretches on their arms and legs, so 5 reps of each exercise on each leg or arm. So firstly, one of the arm exercises I'd like them to do is placing their palm against the wall, but their body is facing horizontal to the wall, with their arm outstretched and then slightly leaning forward. This should create a stretch in their arm. For the next arm stretch, I'd like them to place one of their arms behind their head and reach down their back as far as they possibly can. Next, I'd like them to interlock their fingers and reach above their head until they feel the stretch in their shoulders. For the leg stretches, I'd like them to sit on the floor and try and touch their toes, so putting their chest to their knees. This should create a stretch in their hamstring. Next, I'd like them to stand against a wall and do a quadricep stretch, so lifting their leg up so that it causes flexion at the knee. Then I'd like them to do a static side step. So instead of doing side steps, they just replicate the action of a side step, so stretching the muscles in the inner leg. These exercises will help aid the recovery process, by which the muscles, ligaments, and tendons will not seize up and they will be more pliable next time my client does exercise. For Tuesday's session, I have increased the duration so that his VO2 max increases. This will cause myocardium hypertrophy, which will consequently, over time, decrease his resting heart rate as he becomes fitter. This will also help him lose weight as he will be burning excess fat when doing cardio training. Because of the resistance training on the Thursday that I have added, I don't want to put too much strain on my client's joints. That is why I have chosen the cardio training as swimming, as it still offers the same benefits that the treadmill does. However, it just puts less impact on the joints due to the movements occurring in water. The duration of this training session will be 14 minutes, and my client will be working aerobically at 60 to 70% of his maximum heart rate. I have added resistance training to his program on the Thursday, as this will help him control his BMI as he gains more muscle than fat. The weight loss will also have a positive impact on his heart, as less strain will be put on it due to the decrease in blood pressure, as there will be less fatty deposits that build up in the arteries. The exercises I have chosen for him to do are purely body-weighted exercises, so that he doesn't cause himself an injury as he has never done resistance training before, and also so he doesn't put too much strain on his muscles and bones. I want the exercises to be controlled so that he gains the full benefit of them, and also so that they are not rushed, so the technique is performed correctly. That's why I want him to work at an RPE of 6 or 7. My client will be doing 3 sets of 5 reps of each exercise with a 30-second rest between each set. So the exercise my client will be performing to start with are squats, press-ups, and step-ups. There are a variety of different exercises that work different muscle groups. This is because one of his targets stated that he wanted to build muscle. So these exercises offer the chances to build the muscle by thickening the muscle fibers in all areas of his body. On Saturday's session, there is a flexibility session, and once again, due to progressive overload, I have increased the number of reps my client does of each exercise. This is also because there is an extra resistance training session each week. Therefore, his muscles, tendons, and ligaments need to be pliable to allow him to complete the exercises fully, so he gains the full benefit from each exercise without being restricted by the lack of movement from his muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So I'd like my client to do 2 sets of 10 reps of each exercise. The exercises are, firstly, putting the resistance bands in front of him and then pulling so that your arms move outwards away from your body. So this causes a stretch in their shoulders. Next, I'd like them to do the hamstring stretch, where they lay on their back and put the resistance band on the sole of their foot. They lift their leg up and pull the resistance band towards them and raise and lower their leg. So this causes a stretch in their hamstring. Then I'd like them to do the pike stretch, where they have their legs out straight and their band, but the resistance band above their head, and try and reach their chest to their knees. Also in week 3, after this flexibility session, I'd like to do health screening tests on my client to see if they've reached their targets or what improvements they have made.